Coming up in this bulletin.
2016 WASI result and improvement on 2015 results, says Education Minister.
Also in this bulletin, Affirmative Action Bill Committee calls for public support.
And international news, Zambia votes in tight presidential poll.
Hello, good evening, and thanks so much for joining us for News Hour. My name is Akpene Avo Ajaja.
And my name is Emmanuel Amagashi. Clement Sam is our signer for this evening.
Leading this bulletin, last night during our major news bulletin at 7, GBC24 inadvertently carried out a news item on the alleged passing on of former South African President Thabo Mbeki. This turned out to be false and rather a hoax circulating in some foreign media.
GBC24 apologizes profusely to its cherished viewers for this and retracts the said news item. GBC24 will continue to work hard to educate, inform, and entertain its cherished viewers.
Let's move on and do something on education now. The Education Minister, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, is appealing to all Ghanaians to be circumspect when evaluating the just released WASI results. In an exclusive interview with GBC24, Professor Opoku-Agyeman said even though the results could have been better, unfavorable comments can dampen the spirit of the students.
In the recent WASI, 57% of the candidates were unable to pass with distinction, and the minister says good grades are achieved when all the partners involved play their role effectively.
Following the release of provisional results for the 2016 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination, WASI by WAEC, there has been lots of reactions from various quarters. Out of a total of 274,262 candidates who wrote the exam, 125,065 students obtained A1 to C6 in English language, which is 53.19%. 25.40% obtained D7 to E8, whilst 19.82% had F9. For mathematics, 32.83% obtained A1 to C6. 27.68% got D7 to E8, whilst 38.10% had F9. About 113,933 students obtained A1 to C6 in integrated science, which is 48.48%. In an exclusive interview with GBC24, the Education Minister, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, said although they are not happy with the results, comparatively, it is an improvement over 2015, meaning it moved up from 20.2% to 24.7%.
Sometimes the performance is not as good as we want, especially when we are talking about young people, about teenage people and so on, and to find ways of even expressing our disapproval and not necessarily to crush their spirit, because we don't think that that is very helpful. Everybody is blaming somebody. Wherever you are, we all have a role to play.
1,576 candidates had some of their subjects' results cancelled, while 598 candidates had the entire results cancelled. The Education Minister says investigations are ongoing and those found culpable will be sanctioned.
Sometimes, in the group that we call the results are cancelled, it includes those who may not have written the exam, results that are withheld, those that have been escrowed because there were some malpractices. So further investigation will have to go on, and at the end of it, I'm sure when all of this is done, even these percentages may change a bit.
Making a case for the item differentiating software IDF introduced to detect cheating in the objectives, she said the software has been a success so far. Over the years, the performance of students in English, science and maths has not been good. So what is the way forward?
These three subjects pose a special challenge to our learners, and we've been putting many interventions in place. So yes, this year's results are not something to call the brass band and celebrate about, but if you go to the breakdown, you'll notice that the results in maths this year is good. It can get better. If you look at English, and you also look at math, okay, you'll notice that they've been better than they've been in a while. So again, it tells us that the interventions we are putting in place can work.
The Education Minister was emphatic that there will be fairness in the placement of students while taking into consideration pupils from deprived schools. Students can, however, access their results on the Council's website. For GBC24, Shelley Bewa reporting.
President John Mahama has announced an increase in the daily allowance paid troops on peacekeeping operations. He has also hinted of an elaborate housing program for all public sector workers, the military inclusive, from next year. He made the point at Bema Camp in Accra, where he inaugurated a new naval headquarters complex.
Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, President John Mahama, was in military uniform at Bema Camp in Accra when he went to inaugurate the new naval headquarters building. The building was conceived in 1996, but the process went through a tortuous path before coming into being. Capacity building, system retooling, and welfare within the Ghana Armed Forces have engaged governments to be dovetailed by the current administration.
We've also acquired and developed to a large extent a tract of land along the Volta estuary for the establishment of the Naval Training Command, and have just awarded a contract for the construction of staff accommodation at the new command.
Ghana Armed Forces! Ghana Armed Forces!
Issues about welfare dominated discussions when the president met staff at Edeba.
With regards to the risk allowance, it was consolidated into the salary. And so the fact that it doesn't appear as a separate item does not mean that it is not increasing. Anytime you get an increment, the risk allowance, which was consolidated, also increases. And so because it's not standing alone and you seeing it increasing, you think it's not increasing, but it is consolidated in the salary, and it is increased anytime that you get an increase.
The committee working on the passage of the Affirmative Action Bill, spearheaded by the Gender Ministry, is calling on the public to give the bill the necessary support to ensure that the bill comes into existence. The Affirmative Action Bill aims to bridge the existing gender gap to speed up national development.
The need for women's emancipation remains of global concern. The lack of it has seen less women representation, particularly in the decision-making table. In Ghana, the past 2 decades has seen numerous women's groups working tirelessly to put a bill together. With the Affirmative Action Bill getting a presidential accent, it has found its way to the Attorney General's department. From there, it is anticipated that the bill will end up in Parliament and, when passed into law, will enhance the forward march of women. At a stakeholders' engagement of the bill, a gender activist, Hilary Bedema, did not mince words in her submission about the challenges the committee had to surmount. The chairperson of the Affirmative Action Bill Working Committee, Mrs. Joanna Opari, looked at strategies to adopt.
There have been several attempts at this over the years, like has been said, but this has led us nowhere, as the number of women in decision-making positions in Ghana keeps hovering around 10% for the past decade, 2 decades or more.
Gender Minister Nana Oyelitha highlighted some of the benefits of the bill when passed into law.
Ultimately, the bill will promote sustainable development of Ghana. It will mean equal representation of men and women in government and in other decision-making positions. And this will align the national agenda of Ghana to the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals agenda. And I'm speaking specifically about Sustainable Development Goal number 5, on achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls.
Other speakers supported the fact that women's representation in Ghana is low, and so the time to act is now. They cited instances where women form 51% of the total voting population, but only 8% are elected to be part of the decision-making process. The Affirmative Action Bill is targeting 40% of women to be part of the decision-making process. Reporting for GBC24, Gifty AG, Accra.
It's still the news live on GBC24 and GTV. In some more stories, the youth wing of the New Patriotic Party has met with the youth of Agbogloshi ahead of the International Youth Day. It was an open forum to get to know their activities and take note of their challenges in line with the party's strategy of outlining better pro-youth policies.
Wing of the New Patriotic Party NPP's interaction with the youth at Agbogloshi was to give a listening ear to their compatriots in that part of the capital. They came from all corners of Agbogloshi, from scrap dealers to head porters, traders and the unemployed, among others. All spoke about the hardship they face in their day-to-day activities. They expressed their frustration with the unstable power supply and high cost of living, among others. The national youth organizer of the NPP, Sami Ewuku, said the youth of the country are hungry for change and deserve a better future.
Millions of young Ghanaians today are worried about what the future holds for them. They have worked hard at school or acquired various skills through apprenticeship, and now want to earn their rightful place in the world. But the work is simply not there for them. Mr. Mahama and his government has failed them. Mahama has turned his back on the youth of the country that he once had the social contract with. Half of young people in Ghana are jobless today because John Mahama and the NDC either do not care, do not know, or just don't know how to create the jobs.
He appealed to them to vote for the NPP in the upcoming general elections and encouraged them to lead the campaign for change.
The Inspector General of Police earlier hinted that the police administration may recommend the shutting down of social media on election day. Opinion is divided on the issue. The UN and other bodies are of the view that shutting down social media violates the right of communication. Using social media during elections was the topic for a roundtable discussion at the International Press Center in Accra.
The internet has revolutionized information dissemination in society today. Social media such as WhatsApp, Facebook and Twitter, which use the internet as a vehicle, facilitate quick transmission of information. They expose wrongdoing, but can also have the negative effect of putting a country on the brink of chaos with misleading information. This is what makes the use of social media very dicey, especially in an election. But there is also the issue of human rights and rights to communication, making it controversial to ban social media during elections.
If the IGP, after conferring with the IT department of the Ghana Police Service, senses an IT deficit that could overwhelm our security agencies on election day in the event of such excesses, then it is not out of place that we mull over a temporary blackout to safeguard the stability and serenity of this great nation of ours. So I am for the regulation and monitoring of social media traffic on election day.
Those opposed to the ban say banning social media could cause fear and panic.
The challenges that radio is posing to us as a country is quite serious, more serious than social media. But because we don't use evidence in decision making, we are not discussing that. Ghana as a country, our national security apparatus have to invest in social media monitoring. It have to be done within a legal framework.
A private legal practitioner, Mr. Jerry Ross Akwete, said the courts would be the best place to determine whether or not such a ban could be imposed. The discussions used the Nigerian and Ugandan experience as a case study.
The National Fire Service has organized a 2-day program in Accra to evaluate the performance of the Fire Protection Service Providers Association of Ghana. The program was also directed at building its capacity to support the overall goal of minimizing fire outbreaks in the country.
Fire outbreaks have claimed a lot of human lives and property in Ghana recently. Such fire accidents negate progress. The National Fire Service has been carrying out fire safety campaigns to minimize the outbreaks. The 2-day seminar with the Fire Protection Service Providers Association of Ghana is one such mitigating measures the National Fire Service is employing to ensure fire safety in the country. The Chief Fire Officer, Mr. Albert Brown Gazy, warned that no fire officer is supposed to register a company and operate as a service provider. He encouraged the participants to exhibit professionalism in their work.
LI 1725, which is the Fire Service Act, prevents fire officers from engaging in private businesses. We are part of the security services. We should hold on to our mandate and we should make sure that we operate within the confines of the law. Definitely, in enforcing this, some of us will encounter some hostilities, but I assure you we'll pursue it and ensure that there's discipline. And that is the only way we can correctively minimize the occurrence of fire breaks in this country.
The chairman of the Fire Protection Service Providers Association of Ghana, Mr. Samuel Ekufu, thought the seminar was timely.
This is a very dynamic institution. Now, things keep on changing every now and then. Science is moving, technology is moving, and therefore fire protection is also changing from time to time, and therefore we should be abreast with what is happening in the technological world, be able to stay above the water.
The program was under the theme An Absolute Moral Imperative, Educating the Fire Protection Provider.
This is News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV.
We take a break here. We'll be back.
Business. My name is Esther Edu Ohumeu. The construction sector is set to provide over 1 million jobs in the next decade. The sector will also grow at 14% in 2017, largely driven by government's drive to expand road and housing infrastructure. Minister of State in charge of public-private partnership, Mr. Rashid Pelpo, is encouraging the youth to position themselves for the opportunities in the sector.
The construction subsector, which embodies building and roadworks, contributes $500 to $600 million to GDP annually and currently employs over 320,000 workers. The sector, according to experts, has brighter prospects, mainly due to a growing middle-income class, a 1.7 million housing deficit, and a massive investment in physical infrastructure. There is a worry, however, over the near absence of the youth in this sector, described by players as profitable. Figures from CODVET indicate that only 2.8% of the workforce in the sector are youth, 97% of whom are males. To encourage the youth to go into construction and develop their skills, a program dubbed Youth Inclusive Development Initiative for Empowerment is currently being implemented. At a youth construction summit in Accra, a Minister of State in charge of public-private partnership, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, stressed the need for skills development for the youth.
Skill building for young people cannot be overemphasized in our national development. To build their skills and to train them to become entrepreneurs is very unique to our economy. More and more, the dependence of our young people on the formal sector, state sector, is becoming alarming. Huge numbers of our young people have finished university. They are untrained to get onto the job market by themselves. They don't have the required skills if somebody wants to employ them, and so they are often found wanting.
The project coordinator for Youth Inclusive Development Initiative for Empowerment, Vera Kafue Mills Odoi, pointed to a number of job opportunities for the youth in the construction value chain.
Construction has a broad scope. Someone is even interested in setting up his business, which will solely focus on cleaning the equipment that these large companies just use on a daily basis. So we have cleaning companies that go into offices, and this one just wants to focus on cleaning the tools and equipment and the sites. And that is within the construction sector.
Under the Youth Inclusive Development Initiative, over 14,000 youth are to gain technical construction skills through an apprenticeship program. The move will create self-employment opportunities and increase incomes of the youth.
750 traders from Ejumako in the Central Region have received loans from the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslok. Over 383,000 Ghana cedis was disbursed to 30 groups. The traders received financial assistance ranging between 400 Ghana cedis and 600 Ghana cedis.
The head of human resource at Maslok, Madam Esther Agbeko, who presented the checks to the beneficiaries, advised the traders to pay back on time. She said the failure to pay back the loan could affect other groups. The 750 beneficiaries who were granted the loans were from Ejumako and other communities such as Enyan, Nkojo, Nkonyako, and Esiam in the Central Region. The beneficiaries have up to 6 months to pay back after a month's grace period. As part of the loan recovery process, beneficiaries were taken through basic financial literacy education before the checks were presented. Members of the group were encouraged to use the monies to expand their businesses. The beneficiaries promised to pay back on schedule.
The city's performance on the interbank market is next. Now to the international market for the commodity update. And after this break is the insurance news. Thanks for staying on. A survey in the United States indicates that about 400,000 employees are expected to retire from the insurance industry workforce within the next few years. The U.S. Bureau of Labor says it is now incumbent on employers to consider ways in which to recruit job applicants to fill the gap. And that was business. Thanks for watching.
In health news, the Living Standards Survey has revealed that less than 9% of the extremely poor in the country fall within the aged bracket. This fraction of the population finds it difficult to access healthcare since they lack the means to pay for these services. As a long-term solution, the free nationwide registration of livelihood empowerment against poverty, LEAP beneficiaries, aims to register this group of people onto the National Health Insurance Scheme to enable them access quality health care.
The Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty LEAP program, which started in 2008, currently reaches over 147 households in the country. The free nationwide registration of LEAP beneficiary household onto the National Health Insurance Scheme is targeted at all beneficiaries who do not have National Health Insurance cards and those whose cards have expired. The registration project, which was rolled out by the Gender Ministry and the National Health Insurance Authority, has improved basic household consumption and nutrition, as well as increased access to health care services among the LEAP beneficiaries.
The drive to expand the coverage and improve access to services for all under the NHIS is something that we hold very dear. And the NHI has over the years enrolled onto the NHIS persons who fall into vulnerable categories. We've been working with the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection very closely on this. And our objective is to ensure that every single member enrolled or every single person enrolled onto LEAP gets an NHIS card.
Presently, about 4,803 LEAP beneficiaries have been registered. The registration team, which is currently in the Medina municipality, has covered 12 communities. The Greater Accra Regional Minister Nilaya Futiagbo reiterated government's commitment to ensure that the poor and vulnerable gain access to quality health care. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Anoye Litha, was optimistic that the project will lead to considerable reduction in health care expenditure for LEAP households, enabling them to use the cash grants on other productive activities.
In 2013, we had an impact assessment, and it showed clearly that LEAP has had a positive impact on healthcare, education. It has increased enrollment by 12%, and this can be directly linked to LEAP and productivity in the local economy. There was also an assessment by CDD in 2015. This survey was to ascertain the extent to which LEAP had an influence on the living conditions of beneficiaries.
It is anticipated that a total of 185 districts with LEAP beneficiaries will benefit from the exercise.
It has been 28 years in the making. When the Global Polio Eradication Initiative was formed in 1988, about 350,000 children were getting infected with wild polio virus every year worldwide. The disease leaves many children paralyzed for life. About 1 in every 10 paralyzed children dies from breathing complications. The number of infections is now down 99%, according to the World Health Organization. In Africa, the last case of wild polio diagnosis was in the Puntland region of Somalia in August 2014. But the continent must still stay a full year without new cases to be declared polio-free. 2 years without a case is a significant milestone. It gives hope to millions of volunteers, community mobilizers, health workers, religious and community leaders who have helped deliver vaccines to some of the most remote villages that their effort has been worthwhile. In difficult to reach areas, volunteers have used donkeys, canoes, or helicopters to deliver vaccines. It has been described as the largest public health campaign in history. In some areas like northern Nigeria, volunteers were attacked during immunization campaigns. And health news. We take a break. We're back with more.
Right, so good to have you stay till this hour. My name is Rebecca Iwa. Let's now get active with sports. Now, preparation of the national under-17 female football team, the Black Maidens, for the upcoming FIFA World Cup in Jordan have been given a boost. The team has received food items worth hundreds of Ghana cedis, all in the bid to ginger them up for the task ahead.
It's 8 weeks more to go for the national under-17 female football team, the Black Maidens, to prepare for the 2016 edition of the FIFA World Cup in Jordan. Support for the girls in camp has not been forthcoming. In a bid to boost the morale of the team, a real estate development company, GL Properties, have responded to the SOS call and presented some food items to them. The marketing manager of GL Properties, Margaret Ampofu, urged the girls to go for the ultimate.
We are here to support the Black Maidens in their upcoming tournament. We wish them the best and we hope that they bring the cup when they go to Jordan, to Ghana.
Captain of the side, Florence Anofusua, and coach Ivan Sadote said, "Thank you."
Tournament na yeba be kono so nse okwan bia so de edama kuma so bia no yebe ye amam na musuma kuma tom.
I'm highly convinced from what I'm seeing today, and it is my wish that other companies, organizations, individuals will also come to our aid and assist us to achieve our aim.
The public relations officer of the Youth and Sports Ministry, Mr. Otto Plaha, promised more of such support for the team.
The minister has been working behind the scenes to make sure the team is well kitted for and then well prepared to undertake the assignments ahead of them. He wants me to convey his personal good wishes to you and then wish you the best in everything and expect you to excel. And there are other things he expects to do for you in future.
Ghana has been drawn in Group D with USA, Paraguay and Japan. The tournament is scheduled to be held from September 30 to October 21 in Jordan. Ghana is the only African country to have reached the semi-finals at this level after winning bronze in the 2013 edition of the competition held in Azerbaijan.
We're still canvassing for support for the women's soccer team. No contribution is too small. Now the Lavi Clan football team in the whole West District of the Volta region are winners of the maiden edition of the Dumeviza Football Gala competition. They beat Ahiaba Clan 11 in the finals by 3-2 on penalties.
The Dumeviza Football Gala competition is the first of its kind to be organized by the people of Awudome in the whole West District of the Volta region. Enyinawase is the paramountcy of the 7th town state called Awudome in the whole West District of the Volta region. The gala competition was to foster unity, peace and oneness among the people in the community. It was also to help raise funds to renovate the only JHS school building, which is in a deplorable state. Teams from the 6 clans battled in a round-robin format. After some back-to-back action, Ahiaba 11 side clashed with Lavi 11. The two sides gave a good account of themselves. After regulation time, their encounter stood at 1-1. The winner was then decided through the lottery of penalties. Lavi clan side emerged winners. The organizers say the competition has come to stay.
Now further afield, by still staying in the arena of sports, Brazil secured a vital 4-0 win over Denmark in the group stages of the ongoing 2016 Olympic men's soccer tournament. Host Brazil will now take on Colombia in the quarterfinals of the competition. Still on the Rio 2016, the 120-strong Egyptian Olympic delegation, the largest ever, has so far secured 2 bronze medals in Rio de Janeiro. That does it for sports.
And this is the arts and entertainment segment of the news. On our Throwback Thursday, we recap the beginnings of hip life, the Ghanaian music genre that sees music lovers stamping their feet and yelling for more. The spotlight is on the grandpapa of hip life, Reggie Rockstone. Now to some tidbits from the world of entertainment.
And before we go a look at the closing headlines, the Education Minister, Professor Nana Jane-Opoku-Agyeman, said although they are not happy with the 2016 WASSCE results, comparatively it is an important improvement over 2015 ones, meaning it moved up from 20.2% to 24.7%. In an exclusive interview with GBC24, Professor Opoku-Agyeman said even though the results could have been better, unfavorable comments can dampen the spirits of the students.
The Committee on the Passage of the Affirmative Action Bill has called on the public to give the bill the necessary support to ensure it comes into existence. The Affirmative Action Bill, which has gained presidential assent when passed into law, will bridge the existence. And that was the news. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back at 10:30.